Hey students, in this video I'll be discussing CM1 paper B of September 2020. So I'll be discussing the solutions to the best of my knowledge. I can be wrong at some places, so do not take this as final answers. But yes, I'll be giving the best of my knowledge to you of how I interpret of solving the question. A life insurance company issued a 20-year with profits endowment assurance policy with a basic sum assured of 30,000 and to a life age at 30 exact on 1st January 2000. Premiums of 1,000 were payable per annum were payable in advance throughout the term of the policy or until earlier date. To determine the amount of terminal bonus, the company calculated gross premium reserve based on actual experience, and the level of terminal bonus was set such that the total benefit payable on maturity was equal to this gross premium reserve. The company does not pay a terminal bonus on death. Death benefits are payable at the end of year of death. The company does not add any revisionary bonus on its with profit policies. The assumptions to use for this question are set out in question 1 base worksheet of Excel answer workbook. Construct using a recursive approach a schedule showing the gross premium reserve for each policy year of this policy. So first we need to use a recursive approach and we need to calculate the gross premium reserve for each policy. So we have been given this data where initial expenses have been given to us. Renewal expenses is payable from second year of the policy onwards. Claim expenses is 0 and the actual return achieved in every year is given to us, and QX is given to us. Now if you know the recursive formula, it is nothing but the formula which we will use here, the recursive calculation formula, which is nothing. If you see, it is, I'll just write the formula here. It is previous year's reserves, that is T minus 1V, okay, plus premium minus expenses, and whole of this into I, this whole into 1 plus I, okay, and minus of QXT into sum assured plus claim expenses, and whole thing divided by the value of PX. Okay, so QX plus T, or this is QX and this is PX, whole thing divided by this is a formula which we'll use for the calculation of the recursive. First we have been given the value of our sum assured here in the 30,000 table, so we'll use, and now I've created columns. So first I've created a column of premium where premium is 1,000 given in the question. Expenses, for the first case it will be sum of the two initial expenses which has been given to us, and for the rest it will be nothing but the renewal expenses. For the actual return on this, we have been given the return, so I've just pulled the return from this base sheet over here, 19.63%. And claim expenses have been given 0. Basic sum assured I have taken as, if the time is 20, then there will be a terminal bonus, that is sum assured plus 1 plus bonus rate, and I have assumed a terminal bonus here. Okay, so I assume it to be 1%. So this value will change down, and this was what I am getting. Then QX is also given to us. Just VLOOKUP on the age I have applied. So you apply a VLOOKUP on the age 30. And from question 1 base where I have used this table, these two tables, and pull the second column. The relevant values for the particular ages have come up. PX is nothing but 1 minus QX. Okay, and then gross for the original year the value is 0 of the reserve. Obviously times 0 there will be no reserve. So previous year 0 plus premium minus expenses into 1 plus F3 minus of QX, which is this. QX, my value I3, into sum assured plus claim expenses whole divided by PX. So this gives me reserves, and if you pull down this you get the value. Okay, so this is how you use the recursive relation. Now they've said determine the terminal bonus rate that would be payable at maturity for this policy expressed at the percentage of the basic sum assured. So we had been said that this is a percentage of basic sum assured which I have assumed here already. So 1%. Now they've said that at the end of the reserve year, this reserve and the maturity value will both be same. Okay, so being both of these same, I need to have this difference to be 0. So what if analysis, goal seek, two values 0, and by changing cell will be my terminal bonus, and I change this, so I get a terminal bonus of 3%. So this is what my answer says me. Okay, and then you can just pull out the answers for your reserves, and for part 2 over year. Okay, now question 2 says that an inflation index is set out in the question 2 base worksheet of the Excel answer workbook. Calculate the annual effective inflation rate over the previous 12 months for each month January 2004 to December 2019 using the index values provided. So these are the index values which have been provided, and you need to find out the each inflation rate for each year, effective annual rate inflation. So effective inflation rate is nothing but 2004 January divided by 2003 January minus 1. Okay, and obviously it will be fixed and you can move on. Okay, so this is how you calculate your effective annual rate for each year. Okay, so this is what you are getting for each year. For question 2 part 2, if you see, an investor purchased 10 million nominal of a newly issued 15-year index linked security on 15 January 2004 at a price of 100 per 100 nominal. The price security paid is coupons half yearly in arrears at a nominal rate of 1.5% per annum and is redeemed at par. Coupons and the redemption payment of the security are indexed in line with the inflation index values, allowing for the 3-month time lag. Calculate assuming the investor held the security until redemption. Okay, and the annual effective money yield and the annual effective real yield. You may assume that all months are of equal length. So we need to calculate this. So for calculating this first, these columns were made already, and you just fill this. Nominal amount is given 100, price we have paid is 100, coupon is 1.5% and redemption is 100% at par. Now month plus 3 months, if I am in January plus 3 months for coming to April, this will be 2003 January because allowing for 3 months lag. Okay, an applicable index value will start from here, that if VLOOKUP is January, then we will go from the index sheet and pull out the value for January, and this will be applicable for April. Okay, now when I come here, index values, obviously my index values, if I take this VLOOKUP for 2004 January, I should get an index value of 177.9. Since the 3 months lag, so obviously October should work, and so October's value is coming up, and for a 2004 July when the payment is made, April should work. So I'll get, if you go to 2004 July, you get 2004 April's index value. Okay, so this is how we are working over here. So first a VLOOKUP here from the base sheet where we are pulling the values of this, and then a VLOOKUP here from for this value where we are picking up the values for this. Now if you are wondering how have I filled these months, so what I have done is I had written 2004 January and I had written 2004 July, and then selected both of these together and pulled it down together. So see, this is not changing because this is how I had done it. Okay, and then you apply a VLOOKUP. Now inflationary adjustment is nothing but, obviously for inflationary adjustment we know that for first value it is this divided by, it has to be 1 at time 0, and for next year it is obviously July by January, or according to the lag months. Money payment, price we have paid at 100, okay, at time 0, and we are receiving a coupon of 1.5% half yearly, so 1.5 by 2 into we are doing the inflationary adjustment which we had done. At last we are also receiving a redemption payment, so coupon divided by 2 plus 100 of redemption into the inflationary adjustment which we have done. Now we have to calculate the present value of these payments. So present value of these payments are 1 plus I to the power of 1 plus I, where I is given, I has to be the cell which is denoted down. It is not given to us, so you can assume any value. Say assume 3% and you solve this, 1 plus I to the power minus E2, which is time is there, drag it down. If you see, the present value of the entire thing should come to 0. Price should come to 0. So when you apply goal seek, so I'll just show you. If I take 1% and I'm getting this answer, I apply goal seek. So data tab, what if analysis, goal seek, and I do a value 0 to this. So this is my goal seek, to value 0, and by changing cell will be my money yield. So when I do this, I get a 4.1548%. Okay, and index value where there is no lag. This was already a column again made. So when we take no lag value, I will have to take a value for January. From January's base sheet, I have taken these values. Real adjustment factor is again nothing but this divided by this for 1, and then we have the numerator fixed and denominator changing. And payments will be obviously money price is this. For next one, it will be money payment into the real adjustment factor. Payment in this is there, and then you calculate again the present value. Again for this, the real yield, the column is made over here. Again assume any value, say 2% you assume. Again you have to have a price of 0. So data tab, what if analysis, goal seek to value 0, and changing cell will be my I. So if you change it, you get a value of 1.2489%. Okay, so this is how you do this sum, which is a 16 one. Now assess the inflation protection that has been provided by security. This is a comment portion. So many of you must have written different comments. I am not discussing the comments here. You can ignore that portion. Just go on to see the answers. Okay. Now question 2 answers I have already written over here, and now I'll go on to question 3. Quick video. We're doing a quick discussion. So as fast as possible, I am doing it. The question 3 says a life insurance company issues a deferred annuity contract to a life aged 55 exact. The annuity starts once the policyholder survives to age 70 exact, with payments of 10,000 made annually in advance, ceasing on death. Premiums are payable annually in advance from policy outset. The last premium is paid on the policy anniversary before the start of the deferred annuity payment. The assumptions to use for this question as well as details of death and surrender benefits are set out in the question 3 base worksheet. Show the cost to the life insurance company of providing this annuity benefit at age 70 is approximately 135,000. So first part says this 135,000. So if I go to question 3 base worksheet, these are the 3 rates given to me. Independent mortality of death till age 70, then from age 65 we have been given the mortality rate QX, and from surrender we have been given. Before payment it is 5%, once the payment starts it is 2%. Before the annuity is in payment, death benefit will cost a value of 100,000 lump sum, or a surrender benefit is return of premiums paid without interest immediately on surrender. This is end of year of death and this is immediately on surrender. This we have to take note of. So firstly, annuity payment is 1,000 for the first part. Now mortality is given 2x from age. So this is just pulling the values. If you see, I have done nothing but equal to, and I have taken these values and dragged down. Okay, nothing else I have done. Px is 1 minus Qx. T minus 1 Px. Now we have, since we have to calculate the value at age 70. So obviously there will be no calculation in these cells. Only at say 70 it will start. So first I have to calculate T minus 1 Px. So from age 70, at age 70 if annuity is provided, the person is alive, then the probability will be 1, and then next recurring will be 1 into this. Discounting factor will be again 1 plus I to the power. What I have done is 1 plus I, which is I have already filled above the 2%. So 1 plus I to the power minus of time minus 70. Okay, so minus of time minus 70 in brackets, and then this is 1 again. And EPV is into this. This is the checking point of annuities. At first EPV value is always 1. Calculating annuity due factor is nothing but sum of EPV divided by 1 or subsequent EPVs, and once you multiply it with the annuity amount 10,000, you see that first value is 134,917, which is approximately equal to 135,000. So this is the answer which you have got for the cost of annuity. Okay, I'll come to this part why I have done this to show you all later. First, coming to question 1 part 2, it says calculate the annual premium that the company should charge for this policy. So once we have to calculate the annual premium, we know the premiums are being paid from 55 to 69, and these columns are made, so you have to just fill these columns. QX death is again question 3 based B2, pulling these values. Mu x death is minus of ln of 1 minus QX. QX surrender is also given in D2 cell of base worksheet, and you pull down you get, and mu x is minus of ln of 1 minus D6. Then I have created this column of total force where this is mu x death plus mu x surrender. AQX death is equal to mu x death by total force into 1 minus e to the power minus of total force. And AQX surrender also follows the same formula, mu x surrender divided by total force into 1 minus e to the power minus of total force. Okay, APX is equal to 1 minus AQX death minus AQX surrender, and T minus 1 again recurring is 1, and then you multiply on keeping on. Discounting factor for premium is 1 plus I to the power minus of time minus, again premium also works as annuity. So obviously your discounting factor should be 1. At time 0 there cannot be any discounting. And the premium income. Now I have again assumed a premium over here. So say a premium of 1000 I have assumed. Now multiple of premium, surrender benefit, it was said it is return of premiums paid without interest. So 1000 is the premium paid into any amount which is paid. So at age 55 there will be 1 premium paid, so 55 minus 54, and for age 56 2 premium paid, and so on. See, last is 15 years, 15,000 premium paid. There was no surrender cost in the question. Discounting factor of surrender benefit, surrender benefit is payable immediately on death. So 1 plus I to the power minus of 55 minus 4 minus 0.5. So it will be a 0.5 minus of 0.5. Okay, and so on. Last should be minus 14.5. Present value of surrender benefit is equal to surrender benefit which you are getting into the discounting factor into the probability of person staying alive into the probability of surrendering the policy, dependent probability of surrender. Okay, so these 4 things had to be multiplied here. Present value of premium income, which is there again. So premium will be 1000, which is the premium, into discounting factor into the survival of the policy holder. Okay, so this is there and you pull it down. Discounting factor of death. Now death benefit is payable at the end of year of death. So 1 plus I again to the power minus of 55 minus 4. First year death, second year death, to the last year 15 years death we have calculated. Death cost has been told to us is death benefit has been told to us is 100,000. Okay, and the present value of death we have been calculating, that is equals to 100,000 into 0.95 into again probability of dying into probability of surrender. Okay, into probability of staying alive. So all of these is there and you get this value of 2782. Okay, then if you see now by our equilibrium formula, principle of equivalence, all the costs need to be cost and the benefit should come up to 0 for calculating premium. So annuity cost will also consider, since the company is selling the policy, so we need to calculate the present value of all the annuity costs. We had calculated the annuity cost till age 70 year, and for age 55 we need to discount it by the CT5 discounting factor, which is V to the power 15 P55. So I have calculated it here, 1 plus I to the power minus 15 into 15px, which I had calculated here. I had dragged down one more cell to calculate 15px, multiplied both of them here, and then annuity cost is equals to this into 15px. Okay, so these are the values you can get, and once you get this is the present value of death. So you get these values. Sum of all these are present value of surrender benefit, present value of premium, and all this sum. Now equilibrium says sum of all the costs, that is surrender plus annuity plus death and minus the premium. This value should come to 0. So what if analysis, goal seek, two values 0, and by changing cell will be my premium. So this is 5965.73459. So this is the premium. Now please don't go on the, I may not be sure of the correct answer also, but yes, this is to the best of my knowledge what it should be there. Okay. Next question 3, part 3, they say discuss the implications of the company allowing policyholders to start receiving the benefits at age 65 if the company introduces a reduced annuity benefit option. Means people will get a benefit earlier. So what we'll need to know, we now need to know the cost of annuity at age 65. Earlier we knew for age 70, now we need to know it for age 65. So that is why I had made this replicating table, but with the same calculations, but now starting from age 65. Okay, once you calculate this from age 65, you get this value. You can see here also 13498 is coming. So you could have done in this table only from the beginning. It would have not been an issue. So cost of annuity is 165653 for this table. And then for question 3 part 3, when I bring this here, I now need to, my premiums, if you see in the question, the premiums were said that premiums will be payable on the policy annually before the start of the deferred annuity payments. So if I consider this continues in the next part also, that premiums will be paid only till the start of the deferred annuity payments, which is till age 65. So what I have done, I have removed the remaining years. I have considered only 10 premium payments here, and then done a sum of all of these, and now we have calculated V to the power 10, 10p55 here. Okay, a V to the power 10, 10p55 is done, and again same thing. Now no other changes was done, only annuity cost was different and this was different, and other everything remaining same, and removing the last 5 cells of my calculation, I got a value. Again I did an equilibrium condition over here and put the premium to be 12404. Now if you want, now since they have said discuss the implications, so if you see, when a policyholder will allow, when the company will allow for earlier receiving of annuity payments, the premium will almost double. It's almost 6,000 here and it is 12,000 here. So premium will be doubled for the insurer to pay. Okay, so this is the only difference which this is the maximum answers which I, to the best of my knowledge, I have got. There again I'll keep on repeating, there may be some calculations mistake, there may be some mistakes on the formula, so do not consider this as a final answer, but this is yes to the best of my knowledge. Thank you.